All right, folks, welcome into the show today. It is Saturday. You know what time it is, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's time for the Saturday sit-down on the right side of campus. I'll be your host today, Donnie Rightside, with my partner in crime, Jeff Nadeau, the big man on campus. A lot to go over, Jeff. We're going to spend a little bit of time starting the show off to recap what happened yesterday in Major League Baseball, what we were looking at on the show, as well as some insights, obviously, as Major League Baseball takes the stage today. Also have a nice guest here. It's going to talk a little bit of Preakness today for all you horse racing gamblers out there. But, Jeff, it's Saturday, one of our favorite shows of the week, Center Stage. How's it going, buddy?
Donnie boy, what's happening, man?
Hey, not too much, man. We got a lot to go over today. Before we even get into baseball, Jeff, I know you had some tweets out there. Soccer takes place, obviously, overseas for the most part, so it's a different time frame for us. Talk about what you had going on there in soccer today. I know another, streak that it looks like you're about to start hitting on there.
Yeah, Donnie, these soccer games right now are coming in fast and furious. I mean, we've had a couple this week where, they're really easy winners. 5-0, 5-0. We also had two today already, Donnie. I had an over 4 in the Bremen-Dortmund game in the Bundesliga, a 4-3 final, so an easy winner there. They were over pretty much at halftime. And then, Donnie, I had the Scottish League has been fantastic to me, man. I went with a total in that game. It was 2.5 the total. It was 0-0 at half. I think they ended up scoring 5-6 goals in the second half. So an easy winner there as well. And we have Monaco in the afternoon card against Rennes. So looking forward to hopefully a 3-0 sweep here with the soccer. It's been a good week. We had a little bit of a downturn with soccer over the last couple weeks, but this week's been very good. And we got the Champions League coming up and some of the other finals as well. So looking forward to some more soccer. We have English Premier League tomorrow. Plenty to do still this weekend here. So let's get Monaco. Big man, do you ever bet MLS? No, I don't. I root for the Union for sure, but I don't really bet the MLS. But yeah, Donnie, a lot to go through in baseball. I do want to point out, Donnie, quickly, some of the games we had last night. We took some on the chin, as always, as do gamblers in general. But why don't we just go over some of the big ones from last night, really?
Yeah, on my personal card yesterday that I sent out, had a very nice night on Friday going 2-0. The one thing I do get upset about is when I give out a play here on the right side of campus like yesterday. We ended up with a push, didn't get a win. That was over 2 in the first 5 innings with Houston. But on my big ticket wagers, we had the over 4.5 down in Houston. They ended up with 5 runs for the first 5. That was a winner. And then we went down to Atlanta where that ball just travels out of the yard no matter what happens down there, it seems, no matter what goes into it. And, Jeff, you know me. I like to stay away from knuckleball pitchers, but sometimes you just can't pass it up in that ballpark. Covers easily. Thank you to a Kurt Suzuki 8th inning home run. So that brought home the ticket there. But other games that we looked at, Jeff, on the ticket, we told everybody, the two sneaky plays when you see me and Jeff talk a lot, it's the Rays at home and Oakland at home. Sleepy environments, tough teams. Chris Sale goes on the road as a huge favorite, Jeff. We talked about how well Graveman does at home. And here they go, pull out an extra inning. Didn't get the win off of Sale, but just have to keep it low, keep yourself in the ball game. 3-2 extra inning win with Oakland there over Chris Sale.
Yeah, that was a nice one there. White Sox got it done as well. We had the under 9 in that Baltimore game. And guys, look, again, we'll talk about it today with a certain team in the NL East as well. Dodgers, they roll, they get the job done. A lot of nice results yesterday. Did have a couple losers, Donnie. We gave out, I gave out I gave out the Texas Rangers. They lost, or they won. I'm sorry. I gave out Detroit. They lost. Detroit. We also had, I believe, the Astros. They lost as well. So a couple losers, but for the most part, pretty nice card for the listeners yesterday. So let's jump into today's card. We have Saturday baseball. We also will go over the Preakness and a little boxing with Martin Green. Martin Green, a regular contributor here at SBR, good horse racing guy. Big day, Donnie, for Baltimore City, the Charm City. You got the Preakness. You got world champion Gervonta Davis going for his belt over in England. Big day for the Charm City. Also got the Orioles, so a lot going on down there in Beemore today. But let's get into today's card. A lot to go over.
Yeah, Jeff, 2 games already cut short. The theme on today's card, Jeff, rain, more rain, and even more rain on top of that. 2 games already postponed. Milwaukee, Chicago now off the card. Kansas City and Minnesota now off the card as well. So 2 games down. A couple more games do have rain in the forecast. So maybe a sloppy Saturday out there across the country going through the past week. A lot of heat out there. Now looks like it's catching back up with the rain. The one last part I want to Jeff, I want to bring up from yesterday, which was interesting. How many times, Jeff, have you come on this show and talked about an easy total that it looks like in Major League Baseball, the Washington Nationals? Again, last night, set the total at 5. Looked like they would blow right through that, getting 4 runs in the first 5 innings. What do they finish up with, Jeff? 4 runs again. One of the most baffling team totals, the highest scoring team in baseball. And every time I watch, it seems they can't get over the team total. It's just one of those interesting anomalies on the season so far.
Yeah, no, it has been. But then again, there's a lot of overs that, have looked too good to be true and came in. Rob Job 19, tell them about the loss and passing on Weaver. Listen, I mean, I just don't like Arizona on the road. I don't think I made it clear, gun to my head, I would take Arizona. But yeah, look, we made a mistake, Donnie. I think
I don't think you made a mistake if you didn't play the game. I mean, we joked about it on the late night at campus last night, laughing as it went, 8 and 9-0 in the first inning, going, do we need our head examined? Why don't we just automatically bet Arizona team total over? So I don't think you can miss a play if you never even gambled on it.
I was at the barbershop last night. I go late, as everyone knows, and I was talking with my barber, and he asked me how baseball was going for me, because he's a bettor, and he asked me how baseball's going, and I said, it's been going good. I said, here's something for you. I knew Jared Weaver had been a mess. I said, listen, I know you don't bet a lot of baseball. You only bet football, but bet against Jared Weaver every time he pitches. You'll probably come out on the take, and he took my advice. So hopefully going forward he continues to do that. But Donnie, we cut 2 games off the card. I guess we'll just review the games that may have weather as if they're going to get played.
Yeah, no, we'll go right down the card. It looks like those were the 2 obviously must have been bad, which is a shame, Jeff, because I really had my eye on Kansas City today with the team total shot versus Minnesota, but that's now off the card. We'll see if we can find something else. By the way, thanks for everybody for tuning in here. Already 75 people here live in the chat box. Normal suspects out there. I'm sure if I read it line by line right now, we probably would take up the entire show, but just want to give a shout out to everybody. Thanks for chiming in. If you haven't followed us yet on Twitter at SBR Sports Picks, check out SBRodds.com. And again, Jeff and I both also host a late night on campus. If you haven't done so yet, SBR Sportsbook Review, hit the subscribe button. Over 28,000 have already done that. Jeff, let's get to the Major League Baseball card today. We'll start right at the top of the rotation. Last night I picked up a nice winner on the over in Atlanta. Let's check out what they have today. 9:01, 9:02 on the rotation, Jeff. That's going to be an afternoon ball game, 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Scherzer and Cologne, 87% of the public weighing in heavily early, Jeff, on the Washington Nationals. Opened up at 178, ballooned up to Chris, Jeff, at -200 as a road favorite already through 4 starts on the season. Scherzer, 4 starts. Again, 2.12 ERA. Cologne, last 3 starts, Jeff, a 9.20 ERA. There is some light rain in the forecast down in Atlanta, as is typical there in the southeastern part of the country. 8-8 Washington in May, waiting for them to turn it back on like they had in April. Atlanta, 10-6, however, after a win. So certainly a nice team getting those good feelings going. But again, Jeff, looking at this game overall, one of the things we do like to avoid is betting on Bartolo Colon. And another thing I like to avoid as well is laying 200 on the road. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, again, this is kind of down the same road continuously, and that's what you're going to get with baseball, talking about the same things over and over. But we have to continue to make the point, Donnie. You're laying 2-1 with a team here with a terrible bullpen, a team with a 6.58 ERA on the road in their bullpen. Look, I know it's Max Scherzer, and the lucky thing about this today for the Nationals is he'll probably go pretty deep in this game. We talked about it yesterday. Without Freddie Freeman, that lineup isn't as good. They did score plenty of runs yesterday, but that bullpen is really poor for the Washington Nationals. Look, I mean, the play for me on paper would be the Nationals, but again, the Nationals are a square side. They're going to be a square side today. If you're betting the Nationals today, you might need to relook at what you're doing in sports betting. It's just not really. Again, I know it's Scherzer. I get that, but when you're laying 2-1 against a team like Atlanta, who's a hungry side, you never know what you're going to get. That bullpen, but again, it's Cologne, so you have my blessing there. For me, this is a pass. I just don't really bet on lines like this, but the Nationals should win.
Yeah, I don't have much on that game there. Next game up on the rotation, a surprise yesterday with the Philadelphia Phillies getting the win over the Pittsburgh Pirates after being down 2-0 in the first inning. That's rotation 905, 906. Vince Velasquez on the mound versus Ivan Nova, 76% of the tickets, Jeff. Coming in early, the public backing Pittsburgh. That's not really too much of a surprise. However, Line opened up at minus 123 and sticking right around that point on SBRodds.com. You can check out 5 dimes right now, still at minus 123. Total in that game, Jeff, opened up at 8.5. Pretty much across the board. Sportsbook.com is actually showing an even 8 at this point. If we take a look at some interesting information here on this Philadelphia game, starts, Jeff, 3.37 ERA. So maybe he does a little bit better on the road than he does at Citizens Bank Ballpark. As we talked about many times, they're always prone to giving up the home run ball, especially at home. Ivan Nova, 3 home starts, Jeff. Pretty good, 1.89 ERA. Philadelphia only 11-18 versus right-handed pitching, while Pittsburgh is 5-1 on Saturday. So maybe something in that Saturday sun there in Pittsburgh. Taking a look at this game early, it's hard to bet the Phillies on the road, Jeff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they finally won a game last night for sure. So, again, good for the Phillies finally getting the job done. But, it's not something I think will last very long. I mean, this team, we've talked time and time again, the Phillies, they're just not very good. And I continue to see how, Cousins and Hoskins and everyone down in AAA continues to murder the ball. But again, this team won't address that situation at all. Nova, Donnie's been very good. I mean, he's been really a shining light in this group, rotation-wise. It's not getting much worse for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You're losing heavily to the Philadelphia Phillies. They're just nothing's really went well for this team. Clint Hurdle looks like a defeated guy. I think still, though, at this price, there is a bit of a bargain on our boy Nova. Good pitcher against a lineup that can't hit continuously, against the guy Velasquez, who we talked about, little bit, kind of erratic, does kind of throw a little too hard. Not a good bullpen either. I think the Pirates can get the job done here. I like Nova. I like to back him here in a spot like this. I mentioned last night I wouldn't lay 120 with Williams. I will lay around 120, 125 with Ivan Nova. I think the Phillies are kind of a sneaky play here, or the Pirates are kind of a sneaky play here. I like this game.
Yeah, by the way, Zach Sosana brings up, how about them Phillies last night? They're 8-1 now with Hellickson starting. If you watched the roundtable earlier this week, it was one of those things where I pointed out saying, how bad are the Phillies? It's like a knight in shining armor with Hellickson. Whenever he takes the mound, if he took them out every day, would they be the best team in baseball? Obviously, I'm making a joke there, but that's an amazing number for an extremely bad team to have an 8-1 starter out there in games that he started and pitched.
Yeah, I mean, without him, where the hell would they be? I mean, my God. I mean, they might have 5 wins in the year. It's amazing.
It's quite amazing. I don't have too much on that Philadelphia-Pittsburgh game. We'll have to check it out as the day goes along, but that also is an afternoon start, Jeff. Let's get to the next game. 9:07, 9:08 in the rotation. That's a 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. Sensatelli and Adelman here. 4,700 tickets have already come in, Jeff. Colorado, no surprise, playing well in the road, drawing 77% of the public interest here. Line opened up at 9 as a total, has since bit to 9.5, minus 105. So basically a pick 'em it opened up at. Adelman, however, is getting the line movement with the 121 here at Chris. So that's one of those red flags in April that we did take a look at. Again, these numbers are going to balance out. As you see in the month of May, a lot more stuff can go into these plays, meaning, information that's come in. Starters, again, we talked about it yesterday, 5 and 6 games deep into the season. So you do want to take a look and see where the public is going, but it's not a sure tell-all as it was in the month of April. Jeff, let's get to some particulars on this game. Sensatella, 8 starts, Jeff, total combined, 3.31 ERA. That includes Coors and on the road. If we take a look at Adelman, he's been pretty good at home through 3 home starts, a 3.71 ERA. Colorado, how much can we say it, Jeff? What a team on the road. 14-6 on the road, 11-6 in the month of May. Cincinnati, 19-22 on the season. But how about this, Jeff? 7 straight losses. The air's out of the balloon for the Big Red Machine right now.
Yeah, opponents are scoring over 7 runs a game during that 7-game losing streak. Senzatella, Donnie, has been another really nice arm for this Colorado team who, look, I know someone, I forget his name, but he came to me early in the year and said Colorado would be pretty good. Again, still only June, but they're still good and they're looking good. Have good bullpen, big bats, as we know in that lineup. Look, Colorado on paper, road during the day, just a better team here. Again, the line looks weird, but, I just think the lines makers have kind of downplayed Colorado all year. And someone made that point on the chat box. Markets still don't respect the Rockies. Good point, John. Again, Donnie, this line, I did some of the work here about 2-3 hours ago. Mm-hmm. This line has been sitting at the same spot. But I don't know. I have a play on this game. I'm going to kind of leave that to me here. But this is one game that I'm looking at from a premium perspective, which Luckily last night, Donnie, the Twins came back and got the job done for me. So pretty
Yeah,
excited
always
about
lets me
that.
get that home cooking. Absolutely.
Yeah, amen. How about that? How about that home run? Kenny's Vargas. What a shot that was. But
Pesky squad, man. Pesky squad out there, for no question about it.
but yeah, Edelman has struggled too as well. This is an interesting one. I'm going to keep my opinion close on this one though.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that. But if you're just looking from a pure false flag perspective, Cincinnati would be the play. But obviously, maybe somebody knows a couple guys sitting for Colorado. And it looks like, obviously, Las Vegas is expecting some market regression out of Sensatella, having a fantastic opening of the season. Maybe he slips up here. Always tough to pitch in Cincinnati. Hitter's ballpark there going gets a good lineup. So should be a fun matchup here. Let's move in to the next game, Jeff. 9:09, 9:10. That's a 7:15 start. Samardzija and Martinez are going to be doing battle there in the beautiful city of St. Louis. 77% of the tickets, Jeff, coming in on the home squad. And Martinez line opened up at -148, but got some backtracking here at 5 dimes. Check out at SBRodds.com. Down to -139. A low over-under. Open up at 8, Jeff. A lot of these books out there, Chris, 5 Dimes Sportsbook in the Greek, all showing 7.5 right now currently in that one. If we take a look, again, some rain in the forecast, just like in that game we just went over with Cincinnati as well. Sharks' last 3 starts, Jeff, maybe he turned the corner. 3.74 ERA. Martinez, 8 starts on the season. 3.88 ERA. His last 3 starts, even better than his full season, averaging a 2.70 ERA. San Francisco 5-12 after a win. A nice comeback win. Another bullpen blown there in St. Louis last night. St. Louis, 3 straight losses, looking to correct itself today. One would think going against the Shark, that's a good way to get back on the winning track.
Yeah, St. Louis, though, you mentioned it, blew another one last night. That's 5 blown saves in Busch Stadium this year. So the bullpen has had major issues, and Waka pitched pretty well for the most part. Again, though, that bullpen comes in and serves it up. St. Louis or San Francisco, Donnie, 1-6 of 7, playing pretty well right now. Starting to hit, starting to get some decent pitching. Matt Moore was actually, okay for the most part in that game last night, and people are talking about it. The Cardinal bullpen suspect, Donnie. I'm not really interested. I've made it clear long term. This Cardinals team, I've never seen to been able to get right. The Cardinals, I mentioned yesterday, I liked them there, and of course the bullpen blew it. So, I don't have much on this. You have a surging team in San Francisco, but a guy in Samardzija you don't really want to back. You have a guy in Martinez who has had an issue with walks at times this year. This is a stay away game for me, no opinion. Not looking to lay 140 right now. With a team like St. Louis, it's similar to the Washington Nationals. Decent starters at times, a pretty good lineup, but the bullpen just seems to serve it up time after time. So
it just seems like the Cardinals just a little bit short on power bats. I know Jorko's had a really nice year for them, waiting for Johnny Peralta to get back, but they miss a guy like a Matt Holliday in the middle of that lineup that can mash and drive in some runs there. But from top to bottom, I always thought that St. Louis had the best organization in baseball, the way to get their young players ready, teach them the right way to play the game. So we'll see how that game turns out today. I don't have too much early on that game till we see some lineups coming out, since that's a night game. Next game up here, Jeff, will go on the left coast, 9/11, 9/12. It's going to be Robbie Ray and Luis Perdomo. Very light betting action here. Only about 680 tickets have been counted. However, it's heavy on Arizona, obviously, with a beatdown of San Diego last night. -113, a small road favorite. Arizona opened up as, has climbed a little bit, 5 dimes, showing at -122. Opening total, Jeff, 7.5, stayed at 7.5. Some factoids about this game here. Robbie Ray, Jeff, 3 road starts, 1.45 ERA. Last 2 starts, however, Jeff, 9 innings pitched, 9 earned runs given up. Perdomo through 6 starts, 4.19 ERA. Arizona, we all know, 18-11 versus right-handed pitching. San Diego continues to crash and burn, Jeff, in the month of May, 4-13 overall. Jeff, we were just waiting for the bottom to fall out. It looks like it has on San Diego. It's basically Solarte and Will Myers, and hopefully we get something out of the other 6 batters in the lineup. But, I mean, you can't hide a low payroll and a low, what's the word I'm looking for, athletic or superstar team status for too long in Major League Baseball. Looks like it's finally caught up.
Yeah, and, Donnie, we continue, again, to go back to the same thing of betting against the team long-term, you're going to make money. At this price, I think, you probably continue to back the Diamondbacks here. After last night, with the way the Padres are going to play long-term, I mean, I'm not interested in them. You look at at home this year, hitting 210 against lefties, hitting just 216. And Donnie, over the last 7 games, Diamondbacks have continued to kind of have these little surges. Opponents are hitting just 199 against this club. Ray's been good for the most part on the road. As far as Snakes, I like them at home. We know that on the road. I got to say I like them here as well. I was burned last night not taking them and kind of staying off that game. So, I think here still a good spot. Perdomo though is much better than Jared Weaver, so that's kind of a thing. But if I have to play this game, I would play the Diamondbacks just because I don't think long term you're going to make any money betting on the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, another interesting one that you take a look at, Jeff. Major League Baseball setting that line. It almost looks like, they're setting that hook out there, putting the fat worm on there, hoping to catch a fish at a 7.5. I know San Diego does have trouble scoring runs at times, but Arizona's going to get a 9 full at bats out there. You would think they squeeze out 4 to 5 runs. Technically, in that one, you need, swing of the bat, like we say all the time, Jeff. 2-3 runs out of San Diego, you'll probably get that over. So it does seem low, and I get it. San Diego is not a great hitting ballpark, and they're not a great hitting team. But again, it doesn't take much in this. Let's keep it moving down to the next game, Jeff, which we're going to get into some interesting topics on this one because everything you've said from the start of the season with the Los Angeles Dodgers, especially at home, is just playing right down the middle as if you wrote the book and saw the future on it. Miami and the Dodgers. Straley Urias today, 1,900 tickets tracked, 73% of the tickets, Jeff, coming in on the Dodgers here. Opened up again, a large home favorite, minus 182. Chris has them at 180, so not too much movement on the game either way since it is early in the day. But getting to some information here, Straley, 3 road starts, Jeff, 6.46 ERA. His last 3 starts, however, have been better, an ERA of 2.65. Urias at home, Jeff, not even over a 1 ERA. To be exact, through 2 starts, 0.79 as the ERA. Miami in May, another one of these teams just collapsing in the month of May. 3-15 overall. The Dodgers 11-3, Jeff, when favored at home from minus 175 to 250. They're a favorite, and they like to run and hide, and they cover at home.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Donnie, I guess for the Los Angeles Dodgers' sake, I've been quite a mind reader for this team. And, you look at who they're playing today, the Miami Marlins, a team that – you never want to use the word quit in May, but they just look lost at the plate. I mean, just a total mess for the most part. Their pitching's been an absolute train wreck. You look at over the last 7 games, Donnie, 1.7 runs a game, hitting 205. Mm-hmm. I mean, just not very good. Urias has been really, really good. 0.79 home ERA in 2 starts. Again, not a long list of games there, but he's been able to get the job done most of the time in his career in the major leagues. Donnie, 15-7 for the Dodgers at home, 281 average. 13 of their 15 wins at home have come by 2 or more runs. That is absolutely sparkling. You don't see that very often. We'll talk about another team that's not been as good with that, and they're good at home. 13 of 15 by 2 or more runs. Dan Straley has had issues on the road this year. Dan Straley has had issues in general in his career, and on a bad team against a team that just can't lose at home right now. I'll continue to back this Dodger team on the run line, minus 1.5, plus 120. Just something you should continue to bet every game. You're going to win more than you lose.
And Jeff, how about the same trend that seems going with these Miami Dodger games? I mean, heading into the late innings, it's like a 4 or 5 total runs scored, and the line seems to hang at like 7.5 or 8, which it's doing again tonight, and they somehow just continue to creep over the total. So another interesting one to keep your eye on. A 7.5 is out there, I believe, at Pinnacle. Most of them have 8 in that range, but I mean, keep on hanging the low totals. Again, all it takes is 4 to 4.
I will say this, I'm extremely high on this team going forward. I really like the Dodgers. I know they have had issues in the past in the playoffs, but I mean, this team is really good, really good. And luckily you play some playoff games at home. So, the Marlins, John Dunn makes a great point. I think they should trade Stanton and get a massive overhaul in their farm system. Stanton, look, good player, great home run hitter, but he's just not hitting for average anymore, it seems like. Over the last couple of years, he's been kind of a tough plate, a tough hitter at the plate. So, I would agree with you. I would maybe look to try to get some people back for him while he still can. So, I'll go with Dodger on the run line here.
Yeah, interesting one. A scrape up last night in the game out on the West Coast there with the Dodgers. People throwing at each other, throwing behind each other. Stanton walks out to the mound. Bench is clear. Don Mattingly's trying to go after the other manager. I mean, it was just one of those things to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled, and I I don't think there'll be any suspensions there, but again, Don Mattingly was getting pretty hot. I'm not sure what Clayton Kershaw was doing in the middle of that. I seen him going up and and running his mouth and stuff. I don't really know why you were doing that. I would have been on the, if I'm Clayton Kershaw, why do you want to get involved with that? But yeah, watch out for that. Watch out for maybe throwing it to people tonight. Seems like the growing trend anymore in baseball. Every week we got some sort of fracas.
Got some beef out there, man. Some beef.
Yeah, wake up, move on. Who cares?
Next game up on the docket here, 9:15, 9:16. That's going to be the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. Tanaka and Dree, 72% are backing the road team here with the New York Yankees. If we take a look at some odds here, -118 it opened up at. Jeff Chris is now showing a -112. Jeff and I can talk to, we're blue in the face about getting value with the teams like Oakland and Tampa Bay at home. This might be one that you want to take a look at, especially when you're getting some of the numbers and looking at how Tanaka has been struggling here. 4 road starts, Jeff, 4.94 ERA. That doesn't even count the last washout at home versus the Houston Astros on Derek Jeter night. Andrees through 5 home starts, Jeff. Doing good work, 3.29 ERA. Versus right-handed pitching, Tampa Bay 13-10 at home and usually moderately priced. And again, if you take a look at the number today, if you bet it right now, you're getting Tampa Bay as a dog at home. Another one of those lines, Jeff, sitting there at 8. These are 2 good. I mean, sometimes, obviously in baseball, you can't predict everybody's going to hit each and every night. But if you look and they have their starters in 1 through 9, both of these ball clubs, Jeff, they can hit. So another attainable over-under here in this situation.
Yeah, Tanaka was, you may not get a worse start in 1 2/3 than we saw with Tanaka in his last outing. Just a horrible outing on that Derek Jeter night, which, again, if we remember, everyone was going to play well for the Yankees just because Derek Jeter was there and getting some sort of award. So, again,
a lot of emotion, Jeff.
Don't buy into that. Yeah, don't buy into that stupid stuff. Tanaka, last 3 starts, a 9 ERA, 15 earned runs in 15 innings. So, he has struggled, and you've talked about it, Donnie. We've talked about this Tampa Bay team. They are pretty good at home. They have a good lineup. They're hitting right now almost 300 over the last week. Andreessy's been pretty solid. I'm just not in the business of coin flips against the Yankees right now. It's not really something I want to do. Tanaka's a guy that could get it straight at any point. He did see the Tampa Bay Rays, Donnie, in the first game of the season, and he didn't pitch that well. Hoping maybe at the Trop he can get it straight. But this is a pass for me. Just no value for me.
Yeah, interesting one there. By the way, just to like to take a shout out there to the live chat box, everybody in there. We peaked at over 120 viewers a few moments ago. So thanks again for that. It's important to us that, we keep on building that. But again, the more people that show up in the box, that lets us know that we're doing a good job and at least giving a good viewing experience, putting out some information that might help you win some money. And again, me and Jeff like to have a good time when we come on the air. It's an outlet for us. Jeff, obviously, in his apartment there, he can't just talk to the wall. I can't go up and talk to my wife and bounce off to see if, Griffin and Verlander is going to be a great start today. So it's kind of therapy for me and the big man here to come on and talk to you guys here each and every time that we can. So I just want to say thank you, and we'll keep it moving here on the docket, Jeff. Next game up, Cleveland, Houston, Flyers. Yes, buddy.
I just wanted to elaborate on that. It is always fun. This is some fun stuff coming on here. Just kind of, throwing ideas off each other and everyone in here. Kyle Hamburg just finished season 1 of Billions last night. That confrontation at the end with Axelrod and U.S. Attorney was golden. That was a great scene, Donnie, down in the basement of the when he ripped everything out. I think that's what he's talking about. That was
the entire place, his whole office.
Yeah, because he thought there was a bug. Yeah, that was a really good point, Kyle. By the way, a little TV note tonight, Donnie. Wizard of Lies, 8:00.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
And it's a 2-hour movie, so
beautiful.
It should be a nice night. We got Gervonta Davis fighting, and then I'll watch that. So a lot going on. Damon Williams, you're doing a great job. Shows are the best on SBR. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. We come here. We're probably the only people on here that come on, other than Loshak, to come on here and talk about every game. So we enjoy doing that. We love sports. It's going to be a fun summer too, Donnie. We got a lot of, we'll do a little on location kind of thing. Soon, plenty of summer.
I'll be on location next week. I'll let you know a little bit that. We close the show here for us, so we'll definitely be doing that.
You will be on.
We do have a guest coming up in about 15 minutes here, but we have plenty of time to go over some of these last games. Looks like with the rain out there, it's going to actually save us some good time here. 5 games to go. Jeff, what's that?
Real quick, Wizard of Lies, John, is it's a remake. It's a Bernie Madoff story. Robert De Niro plays him.
A lot of good actors in it.
Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, a couple more. Let's wrap them up here. Sure.
Clevenger Fires, Jeff, 65% backing the home team. Houston coming off of a loss last night, opened up at -115. It's been bet up just a little bit here. -120 at 5 dimes. Last night, as you guys know, I did have the team total over 2, which got to 2 on a Reddick solo home run in the 3rd inning, I believe, or maybe the 2nd inning, but wasn't able to push across that last one for the winner. So we pushed, but I was able to, thanks to a Jason Kipnis solo home run in the 5th inning, to get the over 4.5. If we take a look at some of the particulars in this game here, Jeff, Clevenger, 2 starts on the season. I know you were advocating, with the struggles that Cleveland was having early on to bring him up, give him some starts. He's been good, Jeff. Through his first 2 starts, 2.70 ERA. Fires in his last 3 starts, not good, 6.48 ERA. Cleveland, 13-9 on the road. Houston, despite the loss last night to a right-hander, still hanging at 23-8 versus right-handed pitching. Something's got to give today.
Yeah, in Houston, a lot of that is also attributed to the pitching in Minute Maid Park. Opponents are hitting just .211 in Houston this year. I like Clevenger. I like what I think you're going to get some good outings out of him that they're going to need with Bauer and Tomlin having issues. But Fires is not a guy I really want to back. I think Clevenger might have some trouble here tonight. I kind of like the over in this game a little bit, but this is a pass for me. Fires is, again, I wonder how he threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers in his career. But, yeah, for me, I have nothing on this game. It's a pass for me. Maybe the over, but that's about it.
Yeah, an interesting one there. One that you probably, with the same thing I took last night, because technically, if you got it at game time in that Houston game, Jeff, you got to push it 8. It opened up at 9. So if you got a good number, you bet it early, you probably missed out on the over-under. Another one, as opposed to going full game, because both of these guys have decent, high-paid closers and bullpen guys. So maybe looking in the first 5 innings, if they can jump on Clevenger and Fires, you're probably looking at what, maybe – actually, if it's at 9, probably a 5. So it'll be a tough one either way. I think that's market priced correctly right around that 9 number. So we'll see how it turns out. Next game up on the docket, Jeff, an afternoon game. Boston and Oakland, after Oakland pulls out the win over Chris Sale yesterday. It's going to be Pomerantz and Manaea on the mound. 75%, Jeff, backing Boston on the road against that sneaky Oakland team. Opened up at 110. Bet up a little bit higher. 5 dimes has it at -115 right now. 2 pitchers right now technically struggling. If you take a look at everything overall, 2 road starts for Pomerantz, Jeff, 7.72 ERA. I know you're not high on that guy already. Manaea, 3 home starts, though, doing well at home, at least 3.18 ERA. Boston, 11-5 during day games. And there's Oakland sitting at 13-8 at home with value. Taking a look at them again today, Jeff, if you were to bet Oakland right now, getting another underdog price at home out there in the Coliseum.
Yeah, but it's a little different than the underdog price you're getting last night. So it's not as good. And Pomerantz, look, facing his old team here, you got to think there's something there with that. He's pitched in this place before, but he's had a tough year, Drew Pomerantz. He's had a tough, really career with the Boston Red Sox. Since he's come over, he's had some issues with this club. They're having issues right now hitting the baseball, only .209 over the last week or so. Sean Manaea, I'm not a big fan of his, as I've mentioned, and the A's are only 1-5 in his 6 starts. I get a feeling Pomerantz pitches well today, and they're just a better team than Oakland. If I had to play it, I would take the Red Sox, but it seems like a fairly square play to me. When you really pull back the onion on Pomerantz, there's just not a lot there with this guy right now with Boston. For me, it's a pass, but I think the Red Sox should win.
Yeah, by the way, there are some exciting center fielders. If you didn't watch the game last night, Oakland probably should have walked this game off in the bottom of the 9th off Kimbrel. But JBJ in center field, absolute highlight reel, one of the catches of the year that you'll see in a big moment. You know what I mean? Wow.
Yeah, it was a great catch. I mean, and he didn't show any emotion. He just caught it and ran back.
Like it was his job. I just did my job. No big deal. I saved the game. And again, they walked off in the bottom of the 10th, but that was a hell of a catch. And I know if you were backing either one of those teams, you see that ball flying out there and you're, just sitting there in anticipation, are you going to win or lose? And he pulls that back. I've been there before, getting a win like that and a loss like that. So I can definitely feel how gamblers out there betting that game felt in that one for sure.
He wasn't going to catch that home run ball, though.
No. Toronto, Baltimore, Jeff. Bolsinger, Gaussman, 30% of the tickets backing the road team here with the Blue Jays. If we take a look at some particulars on the betting numbers, opened at 9.5. Actually bet down to 9, it looks like, across the board. Tickets -140. Bet up right now, if you're looking at Chris, -165 for Gaussman. Wait to see the particulars on Gaussman if you're thinking about laying -160 here. Bolsinger, he hasn't been, apple pie solid, if you would say, ice cream and all that on top of it. 6.09 ERA, so you're not getting much value at Toronto there, but go ahead. If you want to take Kevin Gausman and his 9 starts and 7.19 ERA, I know Baltimore's fantastic at home. I get it, but if this line, Jeff, was maybe minus 135, maybe you can play it in there. Toronto 10-8 in May. Baltimore, after last night's walk-off winner, after an hour delay in extra innings, 14-3 now at home. Goodness.
Yeah, 14-3, and you just a great point, Donnie, by you. Kevin Gausman. I mean, do you really want to lay 160 with this guy? It's not something I want to do long term, though. Baltimore, I've talked about. I love at home. They're just a great home side. Mike Bolsinger, he was okay with the Dodgers. He's probably going to be okay. He's probably a 40 ERA pitcher. He's a Miguel Gonzalez. That's what he is, basically. Donnie, an interesting stat here: 14-3 for Baltimore at home, as we know. Only 8 by 2 or more runs. So, for me, I'm not really – there's no real value in the run line for me. A lot of one-run wins for Baltimore this year. A bullpen that has struggled a little bit lately. Kevin Pillar's back, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be a spot where Toronto comes in and gets the job done. Bautista's played better. He started to hit the ball a little bit more lately. They're getting their boy Pillar back. I kind of like Baltimore or Toronto here. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Boston game last night, a little in a weird way. I don't know why, but I would take a shot with Toronto as the dog of the day, honestly.
And I'll tell you one thing, and another interesting way to look at it, they're hanging that line at 9. It looks like, I don't know, sharp or whatever money that you want to put on there is at 9. Just keep in mind, again, both of these pitchers are bad. Baltimore's bullpen's supposed to be good, but again, Toronto has been hitting the baseball pretty well. If you get a 4-4 tie, you have at least pushing that one. So you always want to look at all angles. I can't see myself being a super contrarian and be like, boy, I really like the under in this game. So one might be looking to that over because you can easily see both of these ball clubs getting to a 5 spot tonight, right?
Yeah, I definitely could for sure. I mean, both these pitchers have some issues: short porch, short bullpens. It seems like, Donnie, that Toronto, it seems like they spend like a ton of bullpen. They have a ton of bullpen hours clocked already. It seems like they're always pitching from the bullpen.
Yeah.
I kind of like Toronto here a little bit.
Next one up on the docket, Jeff, Texas, Detroit. Can Texas continue their surge and assault on Major League Baseball? It's going to be Griffin Verlander today. 2 good pitchers. If you just look at some numbers alone this year, 54% of the tickets coming in on the red-hot Texas Rangers. Total opened up, Jeff, at 8.5. Pretty much staying at 8.5 across the board. Verlander opens up a minus 158 favorite. Has been bet down a little bit. Sportsbook.com's currently showing minus 150 at that point. Particulars on this game: 4 road starts for Griffin, Jeff. 1.38 ERA. Verlander, 3 home starts. I believe I have this correct. A 0.86 ERA. Texas, 12-6 in May. 10 straight wins. Detroit, 11-9 at home. Going to get a little bit of help tonight. That Miggy is back in the lineup and ready to go. We'll see how that plays out. But one would think in this one, you might get some decent pitching here early on here.
Laying 150 with Verlander's like flushing down the money down the toilet. I got to be honest, I do agree with you there.
It's a lot to have, yeah.
Yeah, and 10 straight for Texas. They bit me last night, Donnie. I took them so many games in a row. Then I faded them last night, and they got me. But AJ Griffin, Donnie, how about him? He's pitched pretty well also. 6-0 this year when Griffin pitches are the Texas Rangers. Donnie, do you know why that is?
Do not. Go ahead.
He leads the major leagues as far as 6 starts or more, 8.67 in run support. So
how about that? Yeah, that always helps, right?
Yeah, he's getting a ton of support here. They're hitting 321 over the last 7 games. They've won 10 of 14 against Detroit. Yeah, again, I'll go Rangers here. I do like Griffin. He is a guy that will give up a couple runs, but as I said, they're giving him support right now. The Tigers, we know, a bullpen that can have issues. Listen, I'm not laying a price like this with the Tigers again. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Rangers right now, Griffin, they like when he pitches. I would lean Rangers here.
Yeah, no, taking a look at that game, the wind is blowing in this time from left field. As we all know, I guess, if you could take a one-game, look at the situation, the wind was blowing in at 20 miles an hour in the last game that they had, the day game between the Baltimore Orioles. They clocked 5 home runs out of the ballpark with a 20-mile-an-hour wind, so doesn't seem to really factor in here in Detroit, but it's coming in from the left side as opposed to the right. So something to keep your eye on. Next game up on the docket, Jeff, 2 left to go. Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. That's Pelfrey and Gallardo, 59% backing the home Seattle Mariners here. Opened up at -170, -161 currently on the docket. 8.5 is the total here, Jeff. We've laughed at Pelfrey quite a bit. And just a interesting dichotomy when you look at his overall season, was dominating versus the LA Angels, and all of a sudden, I believe, gave up 5 runs with only 1 or 2 outs left to go in the 5th inning. And I believe at that point, Jeff, maybe only 1 or 2 hits up to that point. So it's not a matter of is he going to pitch a good game? It's a matter of when is he going to give the runs up. Pelfrey, 3 road starts, 6.13 ERA. Gallardo, last 3 starts, been pretty good, 3.64 ERA. Chicago White Sox, 9-18 versus right-handed pitching. Seattle 13-7 at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got their win last night against the lefty. That's the only time you can back the White Sox, just not, and especially you can't back them here. I mean, they're facing a team that's hot at home against a pitcher who, is not great, but he's better than Mike Pelfrey. Mike Pelfrey's a mess. He's not going deep in games, but this line's too high. I mean, Gallardo is an average to below average pitcher. And again, I mean, if you're laying the Mariners -160 today, you should give up gambling. I mean, go do something else. Don't waste your money anymore. It's not working. Pass for me. Mariners will win, but I'm not any way in hell laying 160 with Giovanni Gallardo.
Final game on the docket. As you know, there were 2 games that were delayed and postponed because of rain. The last one on the docket is going to be on the East Coast here, Jeff. 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time rotation. 9:29, 9:30. That's going to be Meyer and Wheeler on the mound. 2 young kids. Both have electric stuff. 58% are going to back the home team with the New York Mets today. Opened up at -135, Jeff. But we have some reverse line action here. Sportsbook.com now posting a -121 here for the Mets. Myers, 2 road starts. He's been bad. 8.68 ERA. Wheeler's last 3 starts, Jeff, 1.62 ERA. Angels, 7-14 on the road. The Mets, 9-12 at home. This is one of those games where 2 young guys, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get here, because if Myers on, he has a tremendous activity, curveball, fastball. Same way with Zach Wheeler. He was a high-prized prospect coming up through the ranks, and it's going to be one of these where they're going to go up toe-to-toe here up in Flushing. I don't have much on this game, but that line movement tells me that some sharps are hitting the Angels early here, Jeff.
Yeah, I keep hearing about how Alex Myers is an amazing pitcher. He did have a nice start in his last outing, but other than that, I mean, on the road, he's been a mess. A 2.14 WHIP, a 8.68 ERA in 2 games. Look, I mean, they were asleep last night, the Angels. Maybe the Mets go on a little bit of a run here. Again, the last game, and I'm glad it's the last game because I wouldn't bet this with my worst enemy's money. I'm not betting on the Mets right now. I don't want to bet on Meyer. And so for me, it's a pass. This game, I won't be mad that I don't have to watch it.
Yeah, kind of tough in this one. Going through the ticket overall, the team total that I was going to look at to give today as a free play was going to be on the Kansas City Royals. Like their lineup today going against Mejia, get a full 9 innings. They probably would have hung it. I actually didn't check the final numbers there on 5 dimes, but if it was a 9 or an 8.5 in the game, we were probably looking around 4 runs. I thought that one would have been good, but I'll be searching the card as these lineups come filtered through. If you follow me on Twitter and I have a team total play, I'll put it right out there. No problem at all for something that we can eat on and probably win some money on. But some of these games here, again, you know me guys out there, I wait to see every last thing. It's painstaking for me just to put out 1 or 2 plays. We always have them, but I like to, cross my T's and dot my I's as much as I can. But there are some decent spots here a little bit later that I am looking at. Jeff, you want to leave them with anything on the Major League Baseball card that can point them in the right direction just to wrap it up?
I'll give out a couple free plays here. I'll go Dodgers -1.5 runs. I'll go Pittsburgh Pirates -123, and I'll throw out a dog of the day. I'll go with the where am I going to go here? I'll go with the Toronto Blue Jays. Plus,
nice dog there, yeah.
Yeah, what are they? And again, if many know, I don't ever bet against the Orioles at home. But for some reason today, I got a feeling that Toronto's going to steal one here. I can get what's the number here? I can get plus 143. So I'll go 3 plays here today, 3 free plays. I do have a premium play today, which I've already sent out. I might add another one as well. So looking forward to the baseball card. It's been a couple weeks for me, and I know, Donnie, for you as well. So, again, we appreciate everyone, having some fun with us here today and joining us.
Another one as well.
We appreciate that. So we're going to get joined, Donnie, right now by our guest. He's from England, a guy that I really respect and enjoy talking to. His name is Martin Green. He does soccer, all sorts of different stuff at SBR Forum. He's a contributor. Martin Green, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing great.
Martin, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Very good. I've been listening into the show. I was enjoying your breakdowns of the baseball.
Very good. We appreciate that, my friend. Why don't, before we get into anything here, just give the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, what sports you cover, and kind of what you're doing at SBR.
Okay, I'm a journalist by training. I edit a magazine. Before I became a journalist, I worked for a major bookmaker for 5 years, and all my family's in the casino business, so always been in the industry. Big soccer fan, so I've been covering that for a long time for SBR and its sister sites. Various other sports too, like to stay quite flexible. Lived in the States for a few years, so I cover American sports too sometimes, and a bit of horse racing, tennis, all sorts really. All round sports fan.
Yeah, and I want to congratulate you. Your team Arsenal is playing very well lately, so I won't jinx them, but they are playing well. Quickly, Donnie, Martin Green and I have talked about before, and I don't know how much you know about this, but obviously we dealt with Andy Reid in this town for a long time. Arsenal has a similar situation with Arsene Wenger, who's been there for 14 years. Quickly, Martin, are you an Arsene Wenger out or in?
Sadly, I'm Arsene Wenger out now. I respect the man. He's done a great job over the years. He's been there 20 years now. But he was very, very successful in the first third of his tenure, and the trophies have really dried up of late. And I think we need a fresh outlook to try and change it up a bit.
That's how we felt, didn't we, Donnie? With
at least they got some titles, I guess. We didn't even get a title out of our pain.
True. Good point. But a couple of the main reasons here today, obviously Martin Green, it's the Preakness, and it's a big day for Baltimore. We talked about that earlier on the show. You got the Preakness up at Pimlico, a place that I've been to. Pimlico in the middle of the hood, but it is a very nice grounds. Should make for a very fun race. Obviously, you're going to lead the discussion here. Donnie Wright said, and I've come out and said, we don't really follow horse racing. But again, it's always fun for the compelling minute or two that it goes on. Obviously you have the two horses, Always Dreaming, Classic Empire as the favorites. We talked about, Martin, earlier, weather in certain parts. I'm about an hour from Baltimore. I can get to Baltimore quickly. It's cloudy and overcast here. We obviously had some rain last week down at the Kentucky Derby. What's the weather outlook? What are you looking for in this race? And, what are you on here?
I think from what I'm told, the rain is going to hold off. So we should have quite a fast and dry track, which will be quite a different prospect to what we had for the Kentucky Derby. Could mix it up a little bit, and I think it could let Always Dreaming have a bit of a chance. Against Classic Empire. Classic Empire broke very poorly in the Kentucky Derby, and he lost the race right from the beginning. But if he gets out of the tracks a bit quicker this time, I think he could run Always Dreaming close.
Yeah, you look at an interesting bet here at $5, and clearly, I think, Martin, at this point, it's a two-horse race here. I think we can probably all agree with that, right?
Yeah, I can't really see anyone else muscling their way into it. Always Dreaming has been extremely dominant throughout the season. He's still undefeated as a 3-year-old, which is a really impressive feat. Classic Empire, everyone had really high hopes for, but just because he didn't get the luck of the draw last time out, might get another chance at running Always Dreaming close. I can't really see anyone else making it into a 3-horse race at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty standard thing here, Donnie Wright said. I mean, two horses, two favorites, clearly. I mean, you look at Always Dreaming currently at $5, a plus 100, so basically even money. You could take Classic Empire or Always Dreaming at to win the race, either minus 281. So it is very much a two-horse race here. I think the weather will hold. Like I said, it's overcast. It's definitely a lot cooler, but should be decent weather for this run. And Martin Green, unfortunately, it's not that compelling this year. Two horses, they should battle it out. But I think we'll take your opinion and think that Always Dreaming will get the job done. I know you did do a video with Peter Loshak several days ago. You did some good horse racing stuff there. Where'd you get into horse racing? What made you into horse racing?
Well, my family all worked for William Hill. My uncle was the chairman of William Hill, big horse racing bookmaker in the UK, and just grew up around horse racing tracks, basically.
Sure.
Then my uncle and all my family moved out to the States, actually, bought Philadelphia Park Racetrack with a few investors. So they've been running that for the best part of 2 decades now, visited once or twice a year, and just spent a lot of time around there growing up and really got into the horses. Then came back and worked at William Hill myself, and it's the main thing that people like to bet on when they go in. This was before the days. Now you get the most popular thing is the virtual roulette machines, fixed odds betting terminals, which everyone just goes crazy for. But maybe about 10 years ago when I was working there, it was much more horse racing and greyhounds. So those were the big things, and I just really got into it. Watching a horse race can be a little bit dull, but watching a horse race where you've got money on one of them is just a really thrilling experience. And you can just back a horse that you like the name of or you like the look of, but you can get really, really deep and detailed into it. And it just really appeals to my statistical brain.
Yeah, I've talked to people, my personal life that are big horse race people, and they've talked about it. It's really a science, and you can do really well with it if you put the time in, as is with any sport you bet on. Martin Green, great stuff with the race down at Pimlico. Another Baltimore favorite son today is Gervonta Davis, the undefeated champion in the junior lightweight. He grabbed the title from Jose Pedraza. And look, for most boxing fans, most casual people, no one heard of Gervonta Davis up until beating Jose Pedraza. He's now taking his title across the pond to London to fight Liam Walsh, who, I know you know about Liam Walsh. We're going to get into that in a second. A really good and solid British fighter. He always has been. A good family background. Kind of reminds you a little bit of the Ricky Hatton situation. His brother was involved with fighting. Liam Walsh and his family are involved in fighting. You look at the odds currently. Liam Walsh made it clear he's surprised he's a 3-1 underdog in this fight. This fight will be at around 6 o'clock Eastern on Showtime. We talked to our friend Donnie Al Bernstein on Monday. He's going to be doing this fight, so we're looking forward to that. But look, I've been a Gervonta Davis fan for some time. I actually saw him fight at the Claridge against Alberto Mora. It was a first-round knockout several years ago, and he really kind of got on my radar. Like I said, not far from Baltimore. I kind of, hear about their news and things like that. And he's always been a guy that I've really liked. He's a young kid, 17-0, 16 knockouts. Like I said, fairly unknown though. And I know coming over quickly, fast. His hand speed is absolutely fantastic. A good power, but he is a young guy. Martin, tell me a little bit about Liam Walsh and what you see out of him.
Liam Walsh is a boxer I really like. He's what I want from a boxer, really. He's the strong, silent type. He's a bit understated. He's pretty much the antithesis to Floyd Mayweather, who's obviously backing Davis really heavily. He drives a beat-up old Volkswagen around. There's no pretension about him, nothing flash, doesn't even have a shower at his gym. Good, solid, grounded individual, and he hasn't really had the breaks throughout his career. He's unbeaten, and it's amazing to be unbeaten at his age and not have had a world title fight yet. He's 31. This is his big shot. He was going to get the chance against Ricky Burns 5 years ago, but had a car crash beforehand, so he had to pull out of his world title fight. He's been waiting and waiting, and now is his chance to shine. It is a bit tough for him, but I think he's gonna give Davis a good run for his money. I think it's going to be a bit closer than the odds makers are suggesting.
I think it was a great point by you. He really, he's kind of just the polar opposite of Floyd Mayweather in that camp. I mean, if you look at Liam Walsh, you'll see he's a fairly ordinary guy. Similar, like I said, to Ricky Hatton, just a regular guy. He's going to have a ton of support. The problem I have here is not only, though, is Gervonta Davis going over there, Gervonta Davis seems extremely excited for this fight. I don't think that this crowd's going to get to him very much. He's not a guy. I feel like he's a guy that will feed off that energy. I was a little concerned with him having trouble making weight. It might seem to me maybe he's a little not fat, but a little too too hopped up. So
yeah, it was he took him 3 attempts to make the weight, didn't he? He come back lighter eventually.
And again, it's time and time again in boxing fights, you see this kind of old guard, guy that's kind of, made his lumps in this business against a guy that, is kind of the new up and comer. And like I said, up until a couple months ago, Gervonta Davis to most was fairly unknown. This is a huge spot for him, really, to take not only the title, but to continue his torrid pace towards being, Floyd Mayweather's golden shot. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is basically his prodigy, and many fighters are pissed off over that. I think he's a large money kind of guy long term in this fight business. I think Broner down the road would be a great fight. They hate each other. For me, though, it should be a good fight. I think it's going to be a lot better fight than maybe the books might put out here. He's a tactical, tough, and I'm going to tell you right now, Walsh will get up. He's not a guy that will get knocked out. I don't think. He's a tough guy. He's going to get up if he gets knocked down. He's not going to give up easily. I do think this fight will go the distance at plus 175. Donnie, we've had some good runs with our boxing picks over the last couple weeks on this show. I think this fight will go the distance. I do think Gervonta Davis will win by decision. You can get that at almost 5-1 at 5 dimes. So, this fight will go the distance, I think. I think Davis will prevail, but don't get me wrong. I do agree with what Martin said. I think Liam Walsh will be fairly up for this fight, and I think he will fight pretty well. But, Donnie, you can't bet against a guy in Gervonta Davis whose trainer was the inspiration for Dennis Wise in The Wire. I mean, you can't bet against that. I mean, that's just fantastic. And Gervonta Davis is a Baltimore guy. He's from Sandtown, Winchester, the same neighborhood as Freddie Gray, who passed. He's just Baltimore. He's B-more to the core, and I think he's going to really be a big name in this business. I like him tonight. I think he gets the job done, but it will be a great fight. Check it out on Showtime. So, Martin Green, do you have an official pick for the fight? What do you want to do here?
I do think Davis is going to win it. I just think that he's got too much power, and his hand speed and his speed of foot is going to be a bit too much for Walsh over the 12 rounds. But I think Walsh is going to give him a really good fight. He's going to use his experience. I think he'll know that he's the slower puncher. So you'll see a lot of counter punching, a lot of body shots. And he is tough. He does hang in there, Walsh. So I agree with you that it has a good chance of going the distance. I guess the only thing that might be in the back of Davis's mind and his camp's mind is that being on foreign soil, bit of a partisan crowd, you might risk getting a really dodgy decision if you don't knock him out. So I can see him really coming out in the last few rounds and going for the knockout punch. I quite actually like the look of Davis winning in rounds 7 to 12, which I can get for plus 190.
Not a bad. That's a great point. I mean, obviously being on foreign soil, he might go for it, but it also might allow Liam Walsh to tag him, on a counter. So that's a great point. That might be the best player win the 7 to 12. That might be. You
can back either of them to win in round 7 to 12 at plus 150. So
wow. Yeah, they're definitely some valuable. I mean, this isn't a money line way. It's not really valuable, but this still has some value on the prop market. As far as Diaz, Terrence Crawford, I mean, that line's ridiculous. Terrence Crawford should roll in that fight. Shouldn't have any problems. I don't have much opinion on it just because, I mean, I'm not laying 30-1 on Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford I do like, though. He'll dispel Diaz fairly quick. Listen, Martin Green, great stuff. Definitely a niche guy. I know you are. You do a lot with football and with boxing and with NASCAR even and stuff like that. So great stuff. Yeah, great stuff. Martin, before you go, you want to throw us out a soccer play that you like today or tomorrow?
Yeah, I like the look of Monaco in the French Ligue 1. It's their final game of the season. And
hey, Donnie, how about that?
There you go.
I'm on it too, my friend. I love it.
Better than even money for that. That looks very good. I've had a really good day, actually. Real Madrid came in half-time, full-time. Granada lost, so Granada can't stop losing. That was a pretty easy pick, really, but that's made me some money. I'm looking to the Premiership. I say that Man City are probably going to roll Watford, who are kind of given up for the season. I'm also looking at maybe Leicester to beat Bournemouth. And I think...
Wow, you like Leicester after that pathetic performance the other day?
Yeah, I think that's pushed the odds more in my favour. I think they could turn it around. That was an inspired performance by Tottenham. And Tottenham are very, very strong defensively, whereas Bournemouth really leave gaps and they're slow at the back. So I think Jamie Vardy and Mahrez could exploit that. Maybe Southampton, but those would be the ones I'm looking at. And over in Italy, Juventus to win to 0. Classic.
Yeah, buddy. Love it. Hey, Martin, by the way, Celtic tomorrow, -2. Get on them.
Definitely. I mean,
Final game of the year.
this will make history. This game, they've the first team in Scotland ever to go an entire season without losing a game. If they can get a result here, which they will, they've been just killing teams all season long.
I mean, they're at home, Donnie Rightside, with a chance to go undefeated in possibly, Martin, you would agree, possibly the best home site in the world, particularly in Europe. I mean, Celtic Park's pretty unbelievable.
Oh, it's a great stadium. Yeah, great atmosphere. Yeah.
So against Hearts, who they've already beat 5-0, should be a pretty easy victory, I think. Martin Green, great stuff.
Yes.
We'll look forward to Monica. I'm on that as well. So I know Stuart likes it as well from over at the Bankroll. So Martin, great stuff. I got to know you this year doing the soccer stuff. We look forward to, I know you're coming over to the States here in September or something. So
I'll be there. Yeah, I want to catch an Eagles game. So.
Hey, there you go.
Donnie Rightside, that's his. That's our play stuff.
That's our stomping grounds over there. We'll be ready for you.
First place I ever met Donnie Rightside was in section.
That is true. Yeah,
that was 124, I think, or something.
First time we see each other live. Absolutely.
Yeah. He came down to my section. So yeah, Martin Green, great stuff. We'll make that happen for sure. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to always dreaming in the Kentucky Derby and a nice fight tonight in London.
Yeah, looks a great fight. I guess if you're really looking for an outsider, if you really want to go long on someone, multiplier around the 50-1 mark looks an interesting pick, or you could do him in matchup betting. But yeah, I can't really see past Always Dreaming for this one, with Classic Empire giving him a decent run for his money, but Always Dreaming should be a bit too strong. Very much looking forward to it, though. Should be a great race.
Love it. Pimlico, always a fun place to be. Martin Green, thanks as always, man. We will talk to you again real soon. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Cheers. Martin Green joining us live from England. Always a great guy to talk to. Great accent, right, Donnie?